I wasn't going to buy this, but I thought, why not? It's still quite expensive. It's not the cheapest. It's not just an empty box. This is the Fantastic Four Marvel Comics Library from Taschen, and it includes some brilliant comics, and I'm going to go through a few of the pages in a minute. I'm not showing everything. Most people have probably seen all, of course, the Fantastic Four comics, the early ones, many times. But this box is really nice as well, so I thought I would show the box. And you can see the box there around the back. And you've got Ramatut, the Pharaoh from the future. Obviously Kang, or is he Kang this week? I'm not certain. Whoever he was. Scarlet Centurion is someone else. Immortus, whoever. Let's just go for the book itself. I will be keeping the box. Annoyingly, the Spider-Man one that I got didn't come with the box. I just got the Spider-Man book. So, but I will keep those boxes now. And, now, I'm not going to show a vast amount of this book because it weighs a ton, and I haven't got a camera to do an overview, looking over my shoulder, all that sort of stuff. So I have to hold it, and after about 5 minutes, I do enjoy going to the gym and working out, but it still is a good workout. This weighs a lot, and not only that, the white of the cover, I imagine after a while, you probably get a few fingerprints on this, bit of dirt on this, probably hard to get off. Now, obviously, if you've got the original comic, that would be very disappointing. That is the trouble. It is a pity that they went with that white and then Fantastic Four issue 1. Of course, superb. It actually features some things that I didn't. It's 700 pages from Taschen. That's a key thing. And I say it just weighs its weight in gold. It cost about the equivalent as well. But it's beautiful. So you've got there, I love Susan. Where's she gone? But where? How? I don't know why they included these. These bits I always think slight bit of a waste. Personally, they could have put more information about the books, but they've got quite a few pages. You can see from the start. There's about, actually, I just turned it. I only just got it. Just come to the post a few minutes ago, and I've been just reading through it. And wow, of course, that famous Fantastic Four. I love the people looking up at that. And you got a forward. Forward's always great. Of course, some essays are great. You got here. I can't help myself. The Puppet Master. Don't think we mustn't let it control us. That's a great one. World's greatest comic magazine. And they've got quite a few lovely illustrated. And this is the thing that's really good. You've got like the Human Torch, of course. You've got I Found Raro, the Thing from the Bottomless Pit. So it's quite nice, of course. That's, in a sense, you can see the connection, of course, with the Mole Man in the first one. And I love that. You've got, of course, the synopsis. You have to have the synopsis in this. The paper quality is superb. Really. The binding looks great. It's glued, of course. You can see there. Let's just put that up there. You see that. It looks fine to me. Now, one thing that's really a surprise actually shows pictures of them with a mask. I have never seen that or thought about that. And you've got him looking like the elongated man. That's what my first impression was. Elongated man. That would have been weird. Of course, they didn't in the end have that. But would that have been odd having the masks all the way through? Still, of course, the Thing did have a mask initially. And then, of course, within a feet seconds, ripped it all off. And what a waste of time that was. But you got some lovely ones there. You got, obviously, it reminds me of the Thing, the Hulk one. Hulk at last. And you got Ant-Man, of course. Just lots and lots of great examples. Not a huge amount. It would be nice if they, like I said, the first couple of pages, the red ones, if they had actually used more of the covers, would have been brilliant or whatever. And then you got some more of this. Why? I'm not certain why they went for this big. I mean, it's great to see it, obviously, that big, massive panels. But it just seems a bit of a waste to me. And here's the comic, of course. Fantastic. I'm probably going to rip it. So, Fantastic Four #1. Just glorious, the cover. All the covers included, of course. And you've also got the ads as well. Got the ad there. And, of course, the Fantastic Four there. Always love that bit at the top where they have to show the Dr. Reed Richards. And of course, you've got the Human Torch. I always love the fact they used a nuclear missile over Central City to bring down the Human Torch. Really? Not really exactly the sensible thing to do. Oh, let's just fire a nuclear missile over the city. Okay. I wonder where that's going to land. Well, luckily it lands in the sea. I hope they went and picked it up later because, you know, I mean, it's still probably there. But you've got Human Torch obviously falling to the earth at that point. Great little story. I love the fact when they're going, of course, breaking in there in the dead of night. The guard's not doing particularly good. Open fence. He's not even looking. And they're talking as well. Not only that, you'd think he'd be able to hear that. He's fairly close. Still. I love the fact they did it in chapters. Though, weirdly, I always remember them having chapter 1, chapter 2, etc. Obviously, in the original comics, they didn't. But I always felt these stories near enough like you could imagine that they would have had backup stories of some other monster story, and then the Mole Man would be in issue 2 kind of thing. That it was done that way. But it's just absolutely beautiful quality. This, like I say, you've got the advert there, the one with the shoe adverts, always great. And you've got the Mole Man's Secret. It's just absolutely, the paper quality is beautiful. I love seeing it in the original colouring as well. Seeing the original colouring, it is super sharp, lovely, beautiful. Obviously, all the imperfections are still there, which is great. I mean, and I love the invisibility, of course. You got Sue Storm there. I just like, you don't normally see that now. You don't see it like that. They don't portray sort of that transparency, which is, I guess he was just trying to work out how to do that. And also, when you look at this, you notice how many of these panels do have sort of like hardly any background at all. They're literally, you've just got the monsters or Thing battling this monster. And I love this bit. This is always a favourite one where he's, here, have a challenge. Let's just say, hang on, isn't he Reed Richards? Why did he put that costume on there? Just to protect him from the intense. That was just odd. I never understood that bit. Still. You got that, and then you got, of course, into issue 2. I love that bright yellow. That bright yellow was stunning. Issue 2, Scrolls from Outer Space. Of course, I don't know if they ever had a scene like that in the comic, but of course, comic books never ever have the scenes matching the covers. You got Fantastic Four meets the Scrolls, and it's brilliant. And I love the bit where he changes. I've forgotten about that. He's in space, and he suddenly changes, and you think to yourself, would that happen every time? So, because quite often the thing goes off in space, a bit like Superman losing his powers. You imagine that would be tricky, wouldn't it? If suddenly he leaves the Earth and suddenly he loses all his powers, the Thing becomes a gotcha. And it's got here I also love the fact that you've got the police chief. You've got the scene here, you've got police chief just there, sort of in discussion with Reed Richards. Not something you see often in sort of that combination of the law, sort of, the police and the Fantastic Four. But that was the way these early stories were done. They so different from, of course, what came later. But I love this, Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, chapter 1. So they did actually have chapter 1. I knew there was some chapter 1s. So you've got chapter 1. I was certain there was chapter 1s and things mentioned in these things. And I love that, how to hypnotise on the first page. And then, of course, well, to spoil the story, Miracle Man. But it still was, I always wonder what happened to the poor woman there. There's the woman obviously demonstrating, slightly odd scale, the way that she is there, looking there, but still. From my vantage point up here, I see we have 4 celebrities. Of course, so were they celebrities by this time? They hadn't really done vast amount, had a couple of ventures. The Mole Man one, you wouldn't have thought anyone would have known about particularly. But maybe they had other adventures that we never knew about, sort of thing. But I love it. Monster Lives, and you've got all the various, lots of movie stuff connected in these. Quite a few of these stories had sort of featured movies. Submariner story comes to mind as well. Great new, and the flame that died. And of course, like you say, you got the costumes there. I just love that. Of course, the Thing that didn't last very long. That was not obviously a great idea, that initial thing, but it's just beautiful. Absolute pleasure to go through this. Oh, you got transparency there, so you have seen that. Oops. The transparency. No matter how well Sue Storm can search a city, the Invisible Girl can do it better. Not really certain that is the case, but I suppose it's possible. But still, she goes into a place, he's having a drink, and suddenly people are standing there and suddenly thinking that drink's going down a bit. Oh, you think that would. And also, of course, there wasn't sort of like the vision where she could phase through things. I'm surprised they didn't do that. That would have been even better, actually, if they had gone for the Invisible Girl having that ability as well, a sort of ability just to go through walls, a bit like Ariel, whatever. I don't know. Those sort of characters. So, let's just... Doctor Doom, of course, a classic. I love Test Your Talent. $495 scholarship in commercial art. Wow, that's quite good. So meet Doctor Doom. Of course, I expect at this point no one would have imagined that Doctor Doom would become such an amazing character. And it is, must get in to save them. But how? But also, of course, you've got the letters pages. And I love the letters pages. And of course, there's some famous ones, Jim Mooney there. And of course, Paul Gambaccini. Paul Gambaccini comes to mind. I think he had lots of letters and things in the early ones as well. Just brilliant. Prisoners of Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom looks so different from those later ones when he's moving all the statues in the initial scene. Demons, Science and Sorcery, the books he's got there. I'm surprised they didn't put the Necromon, whatever it is. You know that one. H.P. Lovecraft's one. I love this one. Now on sale. The Incredible Hulk as well. Need we say more? Fantastic 4 pages again. Anyway, I'm not going to show all of it. It's got all the way through. You've got number 9, you've got number 10, all the way through. Now, weirdly, slightly disappointing, it doesn't feature, I think it goes up to number 19. Now, I've got number, let's have a look. So it finishes with the, of course, brilliant Fantastic Four annual number 1. I love that one. But this one is the Ramatut, which I suppose is probably sensible since that's the one on the back cover. You've got here, yes, number 19. Let's just lift that up again. So you've got Ramatut there. Again, all the covers just look so amazing when this big start. And they're just so beautifully. Now they're glossy. They're not, well, of course, which they would have been. I love that gloss. Those early comics when you see, just amazing when you see an old comic that's in really still brilliant condition. You see that gloss and that shine. And in a sense, I guess that sort of matches that style. Not so much because it had a slight different look. Slightly. But Prisoners of the Pharaoh. And you got brilliant there. Obviously. Reed Richards and Susan. I just love the poses sometimes, just quite amazing. Weaponless, defenceless. And of course, like I say, you've got Fantastic Four annual. What a classic, 72 pages. One of the masterpieces of art. I've got number 3 annual. Unfortunately, I haven't got number 1 or number 2. Would love to have had those. Just brilliant. The thing, again, actually the background, there were a little bit more backgrounds, but quite a lot there wasn't. Sometimes when you look at these and you think, oh, weird, Submariner. And just great. I mean, just the colours, everything. And that's the thing about it, of course, is the colours haven't been touched. They haven't been messed around with. They haven't been made into the bright, new, gaudy style that lots of people are not particularly happy with. Not everyone. I don't mind them. I don't really, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. But you've got here at the back, X-Men number 1. Just brilliant. Don't miss this fabulous first issue. Another Marvel master. And also you've got Mad Thinker, the posters, of course. You've got now on sale. You've got here. Look for the newest winner. You've got the Avengers here. And of course you've got. Oh, I can't lift that. It's too heavy. It feels like when you got to the last page, it starts to tip over in a weird way. But you've got the Fantastic Four story with Spider-Man as well. Of course, a classic when he goes try and gets a job with the Fantastic Four. I just love that one. Posters, gallery of Fantastic Four's most famous foes, Incredible Hulk from FF number 12. I wonder if they'll ever meet again, it says there. I mean, just what a lovely poster. I mean, again, there's the posters there. You've got the Incredible Hulk. And it's just beautiful. It opens beautiful. This book is an absolute joy to look through from start to finish. But it is quite hefty. Like I say, doing a review of it. And also at the back, you've got storylines and credits, which is really nice because it does put things like the colours. Stan Goldberg. I mean, I love things. I always wish that in the early days they included this sort of information, inks, colour, letters, those sort of things. Information about everyone that was involved instead of just, in most cases, Stan Lee, Jack Kirby would always say. But to me, inks, Sol Brodsky. You've got here inks, Joe Sinotts, Dick Ayers. Got changed quite a bit actually. What did they put for number 1? Inks, George Klein. They put George Klein there. There was always people who would always argue between, I think it was Rule, Chris Rule comes to mind, Christopher Rule. But it's just first appearances of, the thing is always gets me when it says first appearances, because of course if you look on the first cover it says together for the first time. And that always strikes me. I always think to myself, was there earlier issues that we never knew about? Of course not. But that's just the way it's written. It's sort of together for the first time. Were they separate? You've got Fantastic Four number 18, the all-powerful Super Scroll. I love that one. In fact, actually, there's so many great stories in this. This one here, The Red Ghost. Well, you had to watch her, of course. Return of Doctor Doom. Oh, Ant-Man. I love that one. Don't know why, because Ant-Man, for me, I'm really surprised, actually thinking about it, why they included him in our British comics. Because we didn't know who Ant-Man was at that point. And weirdly, most of the time when you had a character that they hadn't introduced some other means, they didn't sort of give any sort of details, but you can see there you got the cover, and then they got the return of pencils, Jack Kirby, Dick Ayers, and you got Stan Goldberg, Art Simic, Ant-Man guest stars. So that's quite nice. That's sort of absolutely great sort of information. And then you got other bits at the back. I love that. Oh, that's quite nice. Got a sort of old fanzine or something on the back. Cover design. That's quite stunning. Very unusual. Include also some finishes off, biographies at the back, and yet more red pages. More red pages to finish off with. This is Taschen book. This is just a gem. Apparently, ooh, and there it is. You can see the book there. I love the fact they always include that. Just brilliant. There, like I say, it weighs a ton. They're going to apparently bring out Captain America. I was surprised when I read that. And it was just on one of these sort of, on the Marvel website, it says Captain America. And I was thinking, that is an odd choice. I thought Thor or X-Men, especially in 2023, I would have thought for anniversary, the X-Men would have been an obvious choice. The X-Men, maybe they will be doing that as well. But Captain America apparently is coming out. Obviously, there's Iron Man, Daredevil maybe, Millie the Model, Captain Marvel. There's a number of obvious ones that should be coming out. Patsy Walker, probably not. But we can live and wait. That would be a real odd one from Taschen, wouldn't it? Patsy Walker, Patsy and Heidi, big book like this. I'd probably still buy it. Probably not. No, but I'm really glad I got this one. It's just great. I love these stories. I mean, I've read them 1,000 times, and I suspect you probably have as well. But they're still always a joy to flick through and read. Doctor Doom, first appearance, Mole Man, not one of my favourite characters, but Submariner, of course, brilliant. Just classic stories, meeting the Fantastic Four. One of my favourites. In many ways, this is one thing that's probably closest to is the old Marvel Treasury editions. And I've just got that coming. I just bought a copy of issue 2, so I'm looking forward to that. It'd be nice to compare it, actually, the size. Sort of probably about the same sort of thing, maybe. But it's absolutely brilliant. I hope at some point that Taschen bring out a smaller edition, because one, these are great, but I'm not thinking about the Captain America one. I might not buy that one. And it would be nice if they brought it out in a smaller £16.99 edition, so a bit cheaper, and also just so you can lift it, because this just literally, I can't hold it anymore. It is a lovely book. That's all I can say. Absolute joy. If you're into Fantastic Four, if you're into the early Marvels, I think this book is just going to be a must-have. Even at the moment, it is steep, and it's one of those things that possibly will go up even more, because once it's gone out of print, it's going to be very tricky to buy. But anyway, hope you found this of interest, and please put in the comments any sort of things, your comments about, are you going to get this book? I mean, I think it's brilliant, but obviously some people will turn around, no, because might have the omnibus already. You might have the Epic collections. I've got the Epic collection. I haven't got the omnibus, and that's the reason why I got this. I thought, you know what, I'm just going to get this instead of the omnibus edition. I'm not going to get both. I'm not a completist to that level, unless I think I might get it. No, can't do that. So that's the reasoning. So still, I love it, and thanks Taschen for an absolute superb, brilliant thing that I think Marvel should have gone for as well, doing it in the original colouring, because a lot of people don't like the new remastered, redone colour. So I think this is just great to see this. And of course, if you bought them normally, they will be ridiculous price. I mean, they've gone insane at the prices. So, I mean, I saw recently a Fantastic Four for like about 2,000, which is still crazily expensive. But that was a few years ago. Now, whenever I look online, you see the prices and you think, woo, that is just gone so much more than that. Probably for even an average copies of Fantastic Four, I've seen people listing very high prices. So you can read it in supersized version in this, which is just great. Bye.